It's Monday, March 10. In the headlines, government working to upgrade Jamaica's infrastructure. Transport Minister fields questions about the Jamaica Urban Transit Company's salary sustainability. In business news, more funding for the small business sector. Regionally, regional leaders urged to condemn U.S.-Cuba restrictions. And in sports, Red Force Divas celebrate Super 50 Cup. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The government of Jamaica is making a major push to upgrade Jamaica's infrastructure, committing billions of dollars to roads, bridges, and drainage projects. In the upcoming fiscal year, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has been allocated over $1 billion, with a significant portion dedicated to improving connectivity and easing congestion. From expanding highways to upgrading rural water supplies, the investments aim to build a world-class infrastructure network. This JIS feature breaks down how the monies will be allocated in the new fiscal year.
Government is committed to ensuring that Jamaica has world-class infrastructure. Whether it is your bridges, your roads, your drains and culverts, Jamaica must have world-class infrastructure.
In the fiscal year that runs from April 1, 2025 to March 31, 2026, the government has outlined a budget of $1.26 trillion to run the affairs of the country, with the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation receiving $66 billion of that allocation. A little over half of that will take care of the ministry's recurrent responsibilities. That includes the operating expenses of the Forestry Department, the National Land Agency, the National Environment and Planning Agency, and the National Works Agency. The remaining $30.5 billion will be going to its special capital projects. Of the ministry's capital expenses, road and related infrastructure works are driving away with the bulk of that allocation, with approximately $24.95 billion. Most of that investment is being put into easing congestion into the second city and opening up new lands for structured development through the Montego Bay Perimeter Road project. The project, which started in April 2019, has been extended to March 2028.
The historical development of the country. We have built roads without necessarily contemplating what the future will hold. So the roads are built for small towns. And really what you have developing now are complex cities being developed, which leads us to do projects like these.
The Shared Prosperity through Accelerated Improvement to a Road Network SPARK project enjoys the next largest portion of the capital budget. SPARK will be spending $8 of its $45 billion budget in the coming financial year as it begins the work to transform 250 kilometers of road across the country over 3 years.
The Jamaican public listening on should understand that the SPARK program is a capital investment. And the difference between regular maintenance and the capital investment is that the capital investment creates entirely new value.
While SPARK is being accelerated, the Southern Coastal Highway Improvement Project will continue. Set to be completed by March 2027, it has been allocated $2.5 billion in this 2025-26 fiscal year. This will allow the government to wrap up outstanding land acquisitions and JPS pole relocation and continue the waterline and road works. Efforts to dualize the Brayton Road and Helsher Main Road will also progress at a cost of $350 million. This is the road from Niagara Head to the Texaco gas station to East Mid Street, and the objective is to improve mobility and ease congestion in the area. The designs and drawings have been completed, and going into the new financial year, the contract will be awarded with work beginning. And the new Troy Bridge being constructed on the border of Trelawney and Manchester will get an additional $100 million.
The bridge is designed using a 3-box culvert support structure. So in effect, the water will be going through the culverts with a paved invert, essentially. And using that design adds great reinforcement to the carrying surface of the bridge, which means that the bridge can carry significant weight.
The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is using the remainder of its capital budget to execute some key development projects. $2.5 billion is the continued construction of the much-anticipated Portmore Resilience Park. The project aims to create a 21-acre green space for Portmore's residents. It will boast multi-purpose sports courts and an indoor sports complex, children play area and jogging trail, a commercial complex with several shops for rents and car park for up to 370 vehicles and 3 security posts. Shifting gears, Development Bank of Jamaica's Big E program is getting $1.69 billion to continue the work of promoting sustainable and robust growth among startups and small and medium enterprises. It's financed jointly through a grant from the European Union and a loan from the Inter-American Development Bank. The Montego Bay Waterfront Protection Project will get $350 million to help with its aim of reducing beachfront loss to coastal erosion. In the new financial year, the government expects to finish waterfront protection interventions at the southern groins and complete a wall revetment at the North Gully. In its bid to enhance access to potable water across 6 parishes, the ministry has earmarked $300 million for the Rural Water Supply Improvement Project. This will bring reliable water supply to residents in the Aqualta Vale Jordan Run scheme in St. Mary, Albert Town Ulster Springs scheme in Trelawney, Kemps Hill in Clarendon, Mesa Hall in St. Mary, Union Balaclava scheme in St. Elizabeth, and Port Morant Erie Castle scheme in St. Thomas.
Water is indeed a priority of your government, and that priority is being matched with investment, it is being matched with action, and it is being managed very well by the agencies in charge of this mandate.
The government is also fulfilling its international obligations, assigning $250 million to support the renovation of Block 11 on Port Royal Street to establish the United Nations offices in Jamaica.
This initiative is a testament to our government's ability to mobilize resources, leverage strategic partnerships, and execute transformative projects that benefit all Jamaicans.
The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation continues to foster economic advancements while working to help build a truly developed Jamaica.
The allocation of an additional $1.8 billion to the Jamaica Urban Transit Company Limited, JUTC, raised several questions in Friday's meeting of Parliament's Standing Finance Committee. The funds are intended to cover the salaries of 240 new staff members, mostly drivers, which sparked inquiries from lawmakers. The JUTC currently employs 1,626 staff for the 2024-2025 fiscal year, but it is planning to increase its workforce by 240. Opposition spokesman on transport, Michael Phillips, also raised concerns, questioning the need for additional drivers when there has been little change in the daily number of buses in service.
You have been having less and less bus rollout. So to be employing an additional 200 plus, is it that you have redundancies? Why we're taking on more drivers when you're still having a low rollout of buses? To be increasing the payroll by an additional $1.8 billion.
Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport, Daryl Vaz, acknowledged the questions raised and confirmed that monies have been set aside to pay the new drivers.
So, member, it's a very valid question, and it is something that I will have to review, not only with the JUTC, but with the Ministry of Finance, to get the justifications for these additional new positions. Even with the new buses, they were already drivers.
My point.
So I will
Yes.
undertake to get into this.
Looking ahead, JUTC is projecting an operating loss of approximately $13.84 billion for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, with a total loss nearing $18 billion before government grants. In the estimates of revenue and expenditure for 2025-2026, the government outlined plans for the JUTC to improve operational efficiency by expanding its fleet and routes. Minister Vaz also revealed that the JUTC plans to acquire additional buses to increase its daily fleet rollout from 250 to 400 buses within the next year. Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon says a new special education policy will be rolled out this year, with a major focus on strengthening teacher training. Speaking at a special education seminar at Shortwood Teachers College, she stressed the need for improved diagnostic intervention and called for greater inclusion of persons with special needs, saying they should not be hidden away. More in this report from Danita Rodney.
Speaking at the seminar, Dr. Morris-Dixon outlined some of the areas the policy will focus on.
In terms of what's in there, it's grounded in access, equity, and relevance. It's designed to ensure early identification and intervention for students with special needs. And so the ECC has a mandate to focus a lot more on our early childhood institutions and identifying the special needs as early as we can. That's their mandate.
She says, however, the new special education policy's key focus will be on enhancing teacher training.
So in terms of other things in the policy, it focuses on strengthening teacher training to equip educators with inclusive teaching skills, because we're going to need it. I told you the numbers are going up. You are going to have special needs children in your class. You're going to have children with ADHD in your class who are disrupting the class. And you need to understand how to treat with them.
She emphasized the need for greater efforts in facilitating diagnostic intervention.
So this huge gap we have in Jamaica in identification of children with special needs highlights the urgent need for more robust diagnostic intervention and support systems in our education sector. Yes, we have established 2 diagnostic centers which provide early assessments and interventions for children who need them most. These 2 are not enough.
Dr. Morris-Dixon continued saying persons with special needs should not be hidden away.
I was speaking to a parent of a child who was had severe special needs, was nonverbal, had behavioral issues and so on. And I said, "What's your plan?" And she said, "Oh, I'm building a room at the back of the house to put him in." That pained me. This is long before I became a minister of education. This is before I even thought I would become a minister of anything. And I said, no, we have to do better than that. You can't just lock away the child in a room. That cannot be our solution. And so we have a lot of work to do in the schools, in our business places, to make them conducive for people who have disabilities and those with special needs. They can do more than just be locked up in a room and locked away from society.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Danita Rodney.
In the business report, The Development Bank of Jamaica has been allocated $2 billion in the next fiscal year's budget to on-lend to the micro, small, and medium enterprise sector. Newly appointed Managing Director Dr. David Lowe says his leadership will be centered on the creation of a more agile, responsive, and innovative DBJ, which will allow members of the MSME sector to have greater access to affordable financing. The Jamaica Stock Exchange has lifted its suspension of MFS Capital Partners Limited from trading on its junior market effective Friday, March 7. As such, trading in the shares has resumed, having been suspended on December 31 last year. All outstanding issues that led to the suspension of trading in MFS shares have now been addressed. In a regulatory posting, JSC Managing Director Dr. Marlene Street Forrest commented, quote, MFS Capital Partners Limited is now in compliance with rules of the JSE and there is no reason for the shares to remain suspended, end quote. The earnings season continues with reports from listed companies. Sagicor Group Jamaica audited financials for the year ended December 31, 2024 reports 36% decrease in year-end net profit attributable to shareholders. Caribbean Flavors and Fragrances Limited's audited financials for the 12 months ended December 31, 2024 reports year-end net profit of $83.88 million. Jamaica Producers Limited's audited financials for the 12 months ended December 31, 2024 reports a year-end net profit of $1.61 billion. Berger Paints Jamaica Limited's audited financials for the year ended December 31, 2024 reports year-end net profit of $105.68 million. Up next, we have the market highlights from Denise Williams.
For the trading period ending March 7, 2025, these were the most actively traded stocks. Global shipping and logistics provider Kingston Wharves Limited, with 4,003,132 units traded, representing 17.12% of market sales volume. Investment house Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial, with 2,269,941 units traded, representing 9.71% of market sales volume. Toll road operator Trans-Jamaica Highway Limited, with 2,213,497 units traded, representing 9.47% of market sales volume. We now shift our focus to the Forex market rate set by the Bank of Jamaica. On March 7, 2025, the Bank of Jamaica reported US $63.47 million purchased and US $61.56 million sold by Forex traders. Forex traders earned $1.53 per dollar, selling the US at $157.87 and buying the US at $156.34. The Canadian dollar netted Forex traders $1.13 per transaction, with selling at $110.29 and buying at $109.16. The British pound yielded Forex traders $7.17 in profits, with selling at $202.16 and buying at $194.99. For our credit report tip of the day, divorce can take a toll, not just emotionally, but financially. If your credit took a hit, rebuilding it isn't just about getting on your feet. It's about creating new opportunities for wealth. A strong credit score can open doors to multiple streams of income. Here's how. Consider that your credit can help you qualify for business loans. A higher credit score helps secure funding to start or expand a side hustle or full-time business. Alternatively, you can leverage credit for real estate investing. With good credit, you can access mortgage loans or home equity lines to invest in rental properties.
In regional news, the Barbados-Cuban Friendship Association is urging regional leaders to speak out against U.S. restrictions on Cuban medical professionals. President David Denny warns a move could hurt Caribbean healthcare, highlighting Cuba's long-standing medical support, including free treatments and pandemic aid.
Our region have benefited from the government of Cuba medical program in our region, to the extent that they have saved the lives of many of our poor Caribbean people in terms of being able to get medical treatment that most of them cannot pay for or can even think about traveling to Miami or the Western world to get medical treatment, so that they can return to our region and help our people. So that this is also a very, very good program, and the Barbados-Cuba Friendship Association supports Barbados and our Caribbean nations in relation to that joint educational program between our region and Cuba that will benefit poor working class people who would like to become medical doctors.
Trinidad and Tobago is reaffirming its commitment to stronger ties with the European Union. Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister Dr. Amory Brown joined EU ambassadors in celebrating 50 years of diplomatic relations, highlighting trade, development, and shared values. He also pointed to new opportunities under the EU's Global Gateway Investment Agenda in areas like renewable energy and digitalization.
On Friday, Dr. Brown joined Ambassador of the European Union to Trinidad and Tobago, Peter Cavendish, along with EU ambassadors from France, the Netherlands, Germany, and Spain, in celebrating 50 years of diplomatic ties. The EU Trinidad and Tobago partnership has been built on trade, development, and shared values since the signing of the African, Caribbean, and Pacific European Economic Community Convention of Lomé on February 28, 1975. And the Foreign and CARICOM Affairs Minister noted the recent signing of the Samoa Agreement on 25 July 2024 served to strengthen the country's political and economic cooperation with the EU that Trinidad and Tobago was poised to benefit under the EU's Global Gateway Investment Agenda in areas such as renewable energy, digitalization, and water management. Minister Brown recognized the EU's role as this country's second-largest trading partner. The parties pledged to advance collaboration between the EU and Trinidad and Tobago for the next 50 years and beyond.
With femicide on the rise in Guyana, authorities are pushing for stronger legal and support systems. Human Services Minister Dr. Vintha Prasad says new legislation, the Family Violence Act and Sexual Offences Act, will provide both criminal and civil solutions. Additionally, Hope and Justice Centers are offering vital support for victims while training police to handle cases more effectively.
Two pieces of legislation I would like to mention because they are directly related to the Ministry of Human Services and Social Security. The first is the Family Violence Act, which I took to Parliament last year. We are currently implementing that piece of legislation. That has involved a number of programs to train those who have to implement and also to create public awareness so that the population out there understands that this is an act that offers a level of protection that hitherto was not there. And it's very much a groundbreaking piece of legislation because for the first time, it combines to answer to violence out there, both criminal and civil remedies. I think that is so needed in the country today, where we are seeing an upsurge of cases of violence, especially those that I would like to term femicide. Last year, I was very cautious in saying we had a 33% reduction in cases of domestic violence. Very cautious, because I saw at the beginning of the year, we had an upsurge in these cases. Now, people will also look at us and say, with all of the systems that you are putting in place, including reporting systems, you are seeing more reports. It does not necessarily mean there are that many more cases, but it could mean that there was under-reporting before because these things were not in place. And so directly coming out of the Family Violence Act, we are moving to the Sexual Offences Act of 2010, which is currently being reviewed with the hope that it will go on the floors this year. And there are key elements within this piece of legislation, one of which speaks to the sex offenders registry. So I think it is us as a government, us as a team within the government, really ensuring we get to the nitty-gritty of what needs to be put in place legislatively so that we can have the response through the long arm of the law so that justice can always be meted out to those who act in contravention of our laws of Guyana. These Hope and Justice Centers is to provide under one roof all the services required by anyone who experiences violence of any kind. And so from the time a person walks in, they are greeted and they are able to make a police report in an environment very different to a police station. But at the same time as I'm saying that, our police stations are undergoing transformation. There are rooms specially dedicated to that in the police station, and the Ministry of Human Services would have trained 50% of the Guyana police force to deal with cases. And currently, we're embarking on a very, very powerful program where we are going to police station by police station and training the officers at every level on the Family Violence Act and the Child Protection Act of 2009.
In sports, we open the innings with cricket, a moment that we will relive over and over again. The words of Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas captain Karishma Ramharak after winning their first CG United Women's Super 50 Cup title in 8 years. TTT Sport caught up with the captain and the team on their return to Trinidad and Tobago on the weekend.
The 2025 Trinidad and Tobago Red Force Divas squad will always be remembered as the group that broke TNT's 8-year drought in the CG United Women's Super 50 Cup. TNT won 5 of their 6 matches at the tournament, which culminated in them dismissing Barbados for 71 runs and ultimately winning the final by 7 wickets. Red Force captain Karishma Ramharak spoke on her team's accomplishment.
I think, it's a really good feeling for the group. Personally, it's a huge thing for me to actually lead the team to a victory. And I'm sure, we're going to relive this moment over and over again. So it's a really good feeling.
Ramharak said their performances at the tournament went according to plan.
I think for us as a team, it went to plan. Things went really well for us as a team. And I feel like the girls are growing and they keep learning every single time we put them out there. So for us, it was really a good experience.
TNT had a dominant bowling performance on 3 occasions, dismissing their opponents for under 80 runs.
I think the faith the girls had in themselves and they were able to execute every time we put them on the field. I think that was really, really amazing to see. I woke up this morning and told the girls, there's no better day to wake up as winners. And it's such a great day to be a woman today, as Super 50 champions.
Adrian Lazar, TTT Sport.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. Thanks for watching.